Nobody is coming to save you. And that is great. You have been waiting for a mentor, a partner, a lucky break. Stop. The rescue helicopter is not in the air. You are the helicopter. Build the rotors. I know how that sounds. I know it sounds like the kind of thing someone who never needed saving says to someone who does. So let me be clear about what I am not saying before I tell you what I am. I am not saying you should not have support. I am not saying community does not matter. I am not telling you to be an island and call it strength. Black women have been told to need less, ask for less, and expect less for so long that you do not need anyone has become another version of the same cage dressed in different language. That is not what this is. What this is an honest conversation about the difference between wanting support and outsourcing your whole life to a rescue that is not coming. Between accepting help and putting your life on hold until someone arrives to lead it for you, because some of us have been in that waiting room for years, and the waiting room is costing us everything. How did we learn to wait for rescue? It started with stories, the ones we were told, and the ones we absorbed without being told at all. Every fairy tale, every romantic film, every narrative we consumed as girls carried the same architecture. Someone is in a difficult situation. Someone else arrives. The arrival is the turning point. The person being rescued does not solve the problem. The problem gets solved for her. We did not just watch those stories. We mapped our lives onto them. We started waiting for the equivalent, the mentor who would see us across a crowded room and decide to invest in us, the partner who would arrive and make the instability stable, the opportunity that would fall into our path and change everything, the lucky break that would make the trying unnecessary. And while we waited, we made ourselves available to be found. We stayed visible in the right rooms. We stayed in situations longer than we should have, because leaving felt like moving away from where the rescue would land. We kept our dreams at a manageable size so they would not be too much to carry alone while we waited for someone to carry them with us. Nobody told us this was what we were doing. It was just the logic underneath the choices. Stay, wait, the right person is coming. And the years kept moving. And what the waiting actually cost. Here is what happened while you were waiting. The idea you had in 2019 that you sat on because you did not have a business partner yet, someone built it in 2021 and it is doing well. The application you did not submit because you wanted someone more experienced to look it over first. The deadline passed. The conversation you needed to have about your salary. You postponed it through 3 review cycles, waiting to feel more confident or find a sponsor who would advocate on your behalf. And you are still at the same number. The waiting was not neutral. Waiting never is. Every month spent in the waiting room was a month not spent building, not spent learning, not spent failing usefully and adjusting. The woman who started before she was ready, without the mentor, without the partner, without the lucky break, she has 3 years of real experience now. And the gap between where she is and where you are is not talent. It is the cost of the waiting room. This is not to make you feel behind. It is to make the cost visible. Because you cannot decide to stop paying it until you can see exactly what it has been taking. What self-rescue actually looks like, not hustle culture, not you do not need anyone, not grind yourself into the ground and call it empowerment. Self-rescue looks like this. You make the next decision without waiting for someone to make it feel safe first. You take the information available to you, your own knowledge, your own instincts, your own research, and you move on it. imperfectly before it is confirmed by someone with a title. It looks like a black woman who needed a mentor in finance, not finding one, and deciding to become informed anyway. Podcasts, books, online communities. She built the knowledge base herself and then walked into rooms prepared. The mentor she eventually found met her halfway because she was already moving. Self-rescue looks like taking full ownership of the outcome, not blame when things go wrong, ownership. The difference between blame and ownership is that blame is a story about the past, and ownership is a tool for the future. When you own the outcome, you have the power to change it. When you blame the missing rescue for your situation, you hand that power back to the person who is not coming. It also means assembling your own support deliberately rather than waiting for it to appear. Mentors are found, not assigned. Communities are built, not stumbled into. Relationships that actually serve your growth are cultivated with intention. The rescue you were waiting for does not arrive fully formed. You build it, person by person, resource by resource, decision by decision. That is why the absence of the automatic rescue is great. Because everything you build yourself, you understand. Everything you earn through your own motion, you can replicate. Nobody can take a methodology from you. Nobody can revoke a skill. The foundation you lay with your own hands does not depend on anyone staying. Nobody is coming. And I mean that as the most liberating thing I can say to you, because it means you do not have to keep the waiting room warm. You do not have to keep yourself small enough to be carried. You do not have to keep your life on hold until the rescue coordinates. You are the person you have been waiting for. You have been the whole time. The only question now is what you're going to do with that. Thank you for choosing yourself by watching this video. Subscribe to Shine My Crown. Every day we have this conversation, the one that stops waiting and starts building, the one that tells the truth about what is actually in your hands. Welcome home. See you in the next.